First of all, we're off to the movies. Yeah, Thursday tea time around this time means James Luxford is here from the Radio Times and Metro newspaper. Hi, James.
Hello.
Enjoying the summer?
Yeah. It's getting heating up out there, isn't it?
Good stuff. Yeah, he's warming up. It's warming up now and looking good for a Godiva weekend. So I suppose if you want to escape and catch a bit of shade, some time in the movies would be recommended. And your first one here, Spider-Man: Far From Home. It's a blockbuster again, is it? I suppose.
Yes, it's the latest in the Avengers Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Tom Holland returns as Spider-Man, which sees him this time fighting villains all over Europe.
Heads up, Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go. You do not ghost Nick Fury.
Very good. I do like Tom Holland. And is this worth sort of pointing out where this sort of fits in terms of the Avengers timeline? If you watched Endgame, then it sort of picks up from that?
Yes, it is. It's really kind of a stopgap before the work begins on kind of the next phase of Avengers movies. This is kind of a bit of a refresher. It's Spider-Man on a school trip across Europe, and it's him dealing with the events of Endgame. I don't think there's a person who hasn't seen it yet, but
yes.
the grief he's feeling from those events, and coming to terms with his new role as a superhero. He's kind of not a kid anymore, but he's sort of stuck between boyhood and manhood in the things that he's done. I enjoyed this. I thought it was a bit light, particularly coming a couple months after Endgame. I think as the 8th superhero film we've had this year across all brands, as it were. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of a little bit weary, and I think something this light is I suppose necessary in the confines of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it just feels like a film made to make up a slot. Having said that, very entertaining, very funny. Jake Gyllenhaal plays a new character called Mysterio, and you're not quite sure whether he's a good guy, whether he's a bad guy. Nick Fury, played by Samuel Jackson, pops up, and it's good fun. And I think
best bit of the movie?
Best bit of the movie is the credit sequence for me.
Really?
You know, these little things that come midway through the credits. I know a lot of people on Twitter and other places are calling it one of the best they've ever seen, certainly in these Avengers films, where there's always kind of a little teaser. There's a real devastating twist that comes midway through the credits. So while you're in that air-conditioned cinema, make sure you stay. And for there's a mid-credits and a post-credits, and I won't spoil it, but it is worth hanging around for.
Good tip. All right. So from Spider-Man: Far From Home, this one I've sort of seen a couple of trailers for, and it just looks decidedly dodgy. The Queen's Corgi. What did you make of it?
Yeah, Jack Whitehall voices the Queen's favourite corgi, who goes on an adventure when he becomes lost.
Meet Rex. Ever since he was a puppy, he's been the Queen's top dog. He's always been popular in the palace. And he's shaken paws with the best, the brightest, and the craziest.
Fantastic little place you got here, Liz.
Oh.
That's supposed to be Donald Trump, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Go on then.
I mean, I think it was quite a neat setup. There is something to that. It's a very internationally known tradition, the Queen and her corgis, and making a children's sort of adventure out of that is very good. I actually just think it's quite badly written. A lot of these films have little nods. It started around Shrek, where these movies acknowledge that there were parents coming along as well, and threw the odd joke in. This does that, but I think maybe it takes it a little bit too far, and there are a couple of winces where I think, I don't know if this is that suitable for all ages.
Okay.
I think it will be fine if you're very, very young, but I think with so much out there in terms of Pixar and all these other companies making huge, sweeping blockbusters. There's just so much choice in the family genre, and this doesn't really stick out.
Okay. One more then from you for the weekend, and you've gone for this. Anna, tell us a bit about this.
Yes, an action film from the director of The Fifth Element, Luc Besson, about a woman who is recruited by the KGB to become an assassin.
It's quite the fairy tale you got going on here. From top flight model in Moscow to rubbing shoulders with the elite. What was the nature of your relationship with Oleg Filenkov?
Sounds very Killing Eve, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, not particularly one I liked.
Really?
And I think there is something very telling on these weeks when huge blockbuster movies out. I don't want to use the word dumping something in the release schedules, but maybe something that the studios aren't quite as confident in. You see surrounding those bigger releases, right. And this sort of feels like that.
It's just been slipped out. Really.
Yeah, if you've seen Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, which is a much better film, it's along those lines of. I just feel like I've seen 100 films like this, and it was just a bit bland, to be honest.
Okay, Spider-Man: Far From Home. It is, James.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. And in terms of looking forward, then the next big blockbuster moment is coming down the barrel, isn't it? Really?
Probably, yeah. You're looking at something like The Lion King, which is out in a few weeks, and that will be absolutely huge.
James, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed from the Metro newspaper and also from the Radio Times. He's Stratford-upon-Avon based, which is why he's our own. He's our very own on a Thursday tea time. James Luxford looking ahead at movies for you.
BBC Coventry and Warwickshire Travel.